What's up, everybody? Episode 244. I think we're here. We're live. We're recording, and Ben doesn't have the RV window behind him.
No, I'm home.
How's it feel?
Feels good. Feels good to be home. Loving it.
Welcome. TitanDiscGolf.com presents Staggered Stance. Every episode this season presented by TitanDiscGolf.com. If you're looking on the live stream, 35,000 disc selection, free shipping over $75. Use our code Staggered Stance. Exclusive stamps, competitive pricing. You're going to see some unique discs there. I mean, I know manufacturers make them unique, but then you start looking at them and you're like, wow, I've never seen a disc like that. Or I've never seen a disc like that. I really want that one. So maybe you don't want to go there because you'd buy a lot of plastic, but that's what we hope you do to support TitanDiscGolf.com. Really appreciate what they're doing over there. And if you're following, we always kind of, the poster child for Titan Disc Golf is Matt Schlabach. I know he's got a partner in this business venture, but man, if you don't follow him, check him out. He's over in Finland right now, caddying for Gannon. He gives you a little behind the scenes of the tour life over there. So definitely check out what's going on there as well. Guys, I just have been enjoying little gummies right now. And I probably should specify when I say gummy, Nick was like, better not have any CBD, THC, whatever. Might get tested. We did that conversation last week. We'll talk about it maybe a little bit more. We're going to have Simon Lizotte on a little bit later. But without further ado, let's get right into the show. Nick is with us. Josh is with us. How's it going, boys?
It is going great. I have news, essentially. I accepted a new job. So I am going to be a product specialist / salesman for East Coast Metal Roofing. And if anybody in the disc golf world remembers, East Coast Metal Roofing was the, I would say the backer / the sponsor of the $1 Million Shot over at Maple Hill. They're huge sponsors with the Boston Celtics, the Connecticut Suns, I think is the WNBA team, and a ton of other sponsorship out here in the New England area. And I'm actually joining their team of people. So I'm super excited. It's been in the works for, honestly, probably about 2 months now. I went through some pretty rigorous interviews, and I'm pretty stoked to say that I actually do start at the end of this week. So
I'm not laughing that you got a new job. I'm this comment that just goes up on screen. Nick Carl changes jobs more than Ricky changes sponsors.
Hey, someone told me years and years ago, one of the best. So, okay, I'll actually preface it with this. I didn't go to college. I don't have a college education. Been working construction a majority of my life and kind of always thought that I'd be somewhere in the trade world. I do actually very much enjoy the trade world. My job currently is not super busy in the blasting aspect of things. I've been doing a lot of the more hand drilling stuff, which it pays well. I've been getting really good hours, but new opportunity means potential for more money. And I'm 30 years old, want to start building a pretty solid future. So that is, a pretty, I don't know, the apple came in, or the fruit, whatever you want to call it, came into fruition, and I took it.
So Nick, when we started the show, like episode 1, you're like, so a safety guy and a dynamite blaster start a podcast.
Here we go.
So then I want to jump onto something else that you just said. By the way, pause real quick. I just love the fact that we have people all over driving to work, all around the country, military, just fans, disc golfers, people that like disc golf, whatever, listening. We appreciate you. Welcome to the show. Happy morning, happy evening. But Nick, you just said something like come to fruit, or like you were saying some saying, right?
Yeah.
Ben, what's this saying that you made up with Terry Miller?
Terry, I told Terry live on DGN that I said, Terry, you walked so I could grow. And yeah, that's not the correct phrase, but that's what I said live. And I also said the wrong dates for Disc East live, which is obviously, so I blundered twice there. I said this year's dates instead of next year's dates.
Oh, yeah.
So I said 25th, 26th, but it's actually 24th, 25th. I was one day off, but
obviously, obviously PR for your expo is a big deal. I don't think people are jotting down in their notebook what you said. They're like, that's it. Never
After I
check
said it,
back.
I was like, wait, was this year's date? So
That's
I've just been so used to saying 25th, 26th, 25th, 26th.
What's the saying you were trying to say? Terry Miller walked, so
I could run.
It's either walked so I could. Yeah, I think it's walked so I could run, but it was trying to give Terry his flowers. Basically, the thing is like,
of course it was.
He did all the hard brunt work, so people like me, Jay Millie, all these people can like, us can flourish because he was like, did all like the the trailblazing.
So I could grow.
Yeah, he did the trailblazing, and now we have not a leg up, but a head start where he had no head start. He just just kept hacking at the woods until he became whatever he is today.
I think the funny part to me is that people know, like, if you type that in AI and said like, hey, what saying am I going for? It'd probably guess right. Like, people know too. Yeah. They listen. They're like, we know exactly what he said. But that's the funny part is you're like, haha, didn't get said right. Just like when we used to say, field of strength. Like, people are like, we know exactly what you mean, but it's wrong. So
field of strength.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny things we've said. Was it the dark horse we said? What was wild
horse, I think.
Was
maybe
it wild horse? We've messed that up before. That was a Jerry Gomez of Jomez thing on one of those episodes with Jomez back in the day. He said that, my wild horse or something. Josh, and you're here, dude. You have personal life, but you also probably watching a little bit of disc golf when you wake up in the morning. No, it's been crazy.
Yeah, because of the European schedule.
Yeah,
it's always different. Like, yeah, so I'm rarely catching FPO. What time do they actually tee off? Is it like 4 a.m.?
Yeah, 3:30.
Around 4.
Okay. So usually by the time I'm awake, I can catch the end of it.
And that's the lead card.
Yes. So, but for the most part, I'm catching that. But then, yeah, it's awesome, especially on a holiday weekend here in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, I didn't sit down and watch all 18 holes because it's a holiday weekend, and I also had other activities happening. But the fact that you can turn it on, watch some holes, watch the scores, I think I like that better than when they're like East Coast standard time for where we live. Kind of like the morning rounds. Tough missing FPO, but I guess you can get up early and see how it finishes. But yeah.
And Europe is all going, hey, how does it feel to not have primetime TV? They're loving it. I'm sure it's awesome. And they're going to get worlds like that. And we're going to have worlds the opposite way. So, but exciting disc golf in Europe. I think disc golf in general, but what's fun is, we see these fantastic courses that make you jealous of where they're playing. And I live right next to Maple Hill. And you see some of this and you're like, well, Maple Hill does not have the mountains and the huge water and just the incredible landscape. It has its own, but there's some awe moments throwing off hole 1 at PCS Open, right? I mean, that's got to be amazing.
Yeah, the background, right? I think it's the same area. The background of hole 18, you see the fjords and the waterways and the mountains. Yeah, if you follow enough disc golfers on social media, they're not all in Europe, but a lot of them are. Maybe most, it seems. And certainly more so even in the coming week or two. But yeah, Matt, the amount of nature pictures and exploration and landscape, and they're taking it all in, it does look truly incredible. Looks awesome. Just purely from the aesthetics alone. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So I would like to do pop drop lock reviews, but let's first talk a little bit about the event and how it unfolded. I'm always okay kind of jump into the storyline, which is like Ezra Aderhold after a win comes out like literally swinging like lead card. Adam Hammis is there, kind of like a lot of the Discraft guys, right? Gannon Burr's a little ways back. But then you get to final round. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to add too. It's always interesting coming over to the European events because it is hard for us on the Pro Tour who are not consistently seeing European players. There's a few of them, right? Like we can probably go around and name like 5 to 10 names. I bet we would be able to do that if we went round robin. But beyond that, every year there's European players who are like getting better, just like they are here in the US, right? And so it's always interesting to see who can kind of dip into that leaderboard. But Matt, like you said, it was really Adam Hammis, Aaron Gossage, and how about Casey White? Casey White on the leaderboard, only 2 strokes off of first. And I emphasize that name because obviously a friend of our show, local to the Northeast. And then Ezra Aderhold. So 3, what was it? Like a 5-way tie for second place.
At the end of the event.
No, at round 1.
Well, and
at the end.
I was going to say and at the end. I want to pause for a second.
Yeah.
Nick, when you would do some tour events and then like we always bring it up, Waco, right? You make the card. You're kind of like, I wish they would have featured me on the round that I played well in to get on the lead card.
Oh, yeah.
Not the round that got me.
Not
like,
the
you
round
know,
that's actually being recorded.
For what it's worth, Casey's no slouch at all. Like he'll deserve a win when he gets it, of course. But he gets on the lead card and then he doesn't have the round he wants. I think he shot.
No,
over
he
par.
threw an even
Okay.
round because he finished with like 3 out of 4 birdies. But Matt, he dropped 32 places.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, Casey.
So sorry, Casey. But my point is, like, we got to give him the accolades. He made it there, but it was unfortunate in how it played out live. I want to say a little spoiler to Pop Drop Lock, but anyone who had picked Ezra to drop was like, oh, okay, he's not. He's backing up what he did for his win, and we'll just get this out of the way. He ended up starting like 8 over par through 9 holes. That was crazy. I thought something was wrong. I mean, he probably thought something was wrong, but I thought something was wrong. Like, I was like, is he hurt and he's just going to muscle through and then DNF before he gets to the end? Like, what's going to happen? Then he got a birdie on like hole 10 and I'm like, oh, okay. He's able to get birdie. So anyways, that was crazy. But
yeah, he finished the tournament. He was the last player to make cash. So that's rough. I mean,
from like Chace card,
round,
top of Chace card, or yeah.
Well, right.
It's kind of like when you ace in disc golf. It's the next hole.
It's all
you're
downhill from
guaranteed
there. Yeah.
to bogey. It's just I guarantee that's.
But his next 2 rounds
that's
were
how it
not
was.
that way. I don't know if it was a
I know, but
mindset in the final round.
He
but-
still, yeah. Well, yeah. I think it's just like, first round jitters of being a Pro Tour champion. Like, oh, now Ezra Robinson. Was he talking about this to me personally or on a podcast? I don't really know. Maybe it was me personally. He was saying, like, it's even harder now for him now that he has the win because
said that-
now he feels like there's expectations or something like that.
He was saying that
Like
when
he
you
is-
were on the couch in the prison cell. That's what
Okay,
he was
yeah.
saying.
So he said it
I'm
on
pretty
this
sure.
podcast.
Pretty sure.
Okay, there you go. Yes. So he said it. Yeah, where it's like now there's so much more expectations now, where it's like, okay, like now I need to win more, and now I'm an elite player and stuff like that. So I'm sure that's the mindset behind it. Just trying to keep the ball rolling, and it's hard.
Yeah. So then the final. This is MPO talk. We'll get to FPO. Then we roll to the final round, and Adam Hammis is holding on. And when I say holding on, I mean because the number 1 player currently, Gannon Buhr, is 1 stroke behind coming into the round. All I can say is if you were watching that round play out, you knew there was a chance the whole way until hole 16. And Gannon hits an early tree. Adam is pured. You say, well, that's okay. Gannon can pull off something. There's probably something he can do. Hits another tree. Miraculously is not OB. So you're still thinking there's still a chance. He'll probably be a stroke back, but there's a chance with 2 holes, hole 18 being one of them. And he throws his 3rd shot out of bounds. Then you think that's pretty much it. Like he's going to have 3 strokes and 2, like behind with 2 holes left. At this other point, give me the name of this young guy out there, teenager. What's his name? Takes second place.
The one to finish second? Mio Hamalainen?
Yeah, we'll get it right. He deserves it. But like, I loved the cameras on him. They put cameras on him as the last hole was playing out because he technically, his round was finished, but he was only 1 back by the time Adam Hammis comes into 18. So there's a chance that he even claims the win or a playoff. But my point is Gannon's 3 back. That's the real storyline per se. AB is like there, but not like it's similar. Hole 17, Hammis says he chokes, And he literally gets a bogey on what's arguably the easiest or necessary birdie on the course.
Yeah.
And Gannon birdies.
Yeah, just to emphasize it. I mean, yeah, it was like bad throws and then like even terrible like putts, which is something Hamas is good at. And like you mentioned, Matt, he acknowledged after. I think he just felt like he could close out the tournament and just totally crumbled, which is pretty interesting. But yeah.
So Gannon is back 1 stroke or 2?
Yeah, he's only back one going
one.
into hole 18.
I watched it. I'm just trying to remember how close it was.
Yeah, so it's a 3-stroke swing, a 2-stroke swing, and then
that's full pressure. That's full pressure. 1 stroke. If you're in the lead, 1 stroke going into that hole, you don't have any leeway. You don't want to play off. You also know he could birdie and you could bogey, so there's no leeway. You have to execute the hole. I will say they both threw fine drives. Then Gannon, being a little further back, throws OB, approaching the island. This part was a little surprising. We heard it break down from Adam, but Adam goes for the island green. Nick, did you watch that play out, and were you like, oh, it makes total sense, or did you not see it? Or
No, I actually didn't see it live.
Okay.
I got busy watching the final round. I did watch majority of the front, and then wasn't able to finish it.
So it's a little
you guys are
different.
explaining it
So
perfectly.
I'll explain it for you and anyone else who knows hole 18 there. It's an island. And
With the
imagine like hole 18 at Maple Hill, for those who may be more familiar with that, maybe. In Adam's opinion, laying up was just as hard as going for the island green, meaning the way the OB kind of pinched in at the corner. And because of that, he said, I feel like it's just as hard or as risky, so I'm going to go for it. At the end, he executed it flawlessly to bullseye. But had he thrown OB, we're likely seeing a playoff with this Hymanen, or however you say it. That's dramatic, awesome disc golf, and you thought it was over at hole 16, and then it's still exciting. So awesome performance. Congrats to Adam Hamas. There's a storyline to be talked about there, which we can bring up later.
Hey, and Matt, I think when I was like year 2 of disc golf, I learned that I could like skip a disc like around a corner, and I thought it was like the coolest thing, ever. Like there was one hole at Buffinville where that's all I would do. I would just skip it. Do you remember? Well, we'll go down that path later for Buffinville people. Anyway, but Hamas does this incredible low shot and skips it into the island. Like that's like, I don't know. It was pretty awesome. Just the way he threw it low, let the, super overstable, whatever it was, a zone or something, just hit the grass and kind of skim up. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, how often do we see Gannon Buhr make a mistake down the stretch? Not often, but what's interesting is he did recently, remember? And then AB made
I was going to say Portland.
Mistake. Yes. So like it
didn't matter, but yeah.
Well, right. Well, that's what's weird is he threw straight up into a tree.
Literally.
with Ben standing there.
It was like, what just happened?
Yeah. But 16 was a disaster, but even 18, again, I don't think it's easy to get in the island, but like Gannon doesn't usually. I mean, he just threw long. And I know we're not talking about FPO yet, but Kristin threw into the same area. Like people were throwing long, kind of that island green is pretty protected. You kind of have to come in highs or right through the gap. There's trees on the left side. So I don't know, interesting design, a lot of fun, but saw a lot of
There's
mistakes.
a little more to it than just, how to throw that shot. There was a left to right tailwind. If you're throwing a disc into a tailwind or with a tailwind, your disc is going to more likely drop. I'm going to give you the generics, right? If you're throwing left to right tailwind and your disc is kind of dropping, it's also pushing left to right a little bit if you have it on hyzer. So Gannon throws a hyzer angle out of his hand with a tailwind, and I'm not as good as Gannon, and Gannon knows how to make the mistakes usually in his favor. That's one of the things Gannon does well. He picks a disc, he picks a flight path that he says, if it doesn't go, like it's intentionally going to default away from OB. Like I'm going to make sure that that's the disc. I'm not going to throw something flippy on hyzer, even though I could pull it off, because if I make a mistake, it's going OB. I'm going to throw the disc that I know, whatever. So I think I could be wrong. I haven't talked to Gannon. I don't know if Ben, overseas and all that, but like, it seems to me like that tailwind, he had to throw it a little harder to keep it up. And when he did that, it just stayed on that line. And so I think that's partly why it went long. I don't think the distance was necessarily going to be an issue. I don't know. There was more going on is all of my point. I can't break it down for you every detail of what he thought, but that's just the way it appeared to me, that it was a wind issue, that he miscalculated on how to throw it. And Adam kept it very low, I think, for that purpose.
That's what I'm saying. He like skimmed it in.
Yeah. Good job to him. Good all around. Awesome event.
Yeah.
Beautiful venue. I would love to have that venue here. I'd love to watch that course. Again,
Yeah.
I'd watch it again this week. Like, I would watch that course tournament probably for a lot of weeks in a row.
Yep. Yeah. So I want to talk just a little bit down the leaderboard, but Ben, Nick, any other reactions to Hamas pulling it out? We're talking over Gannon, but I want to mention the leaderboard because there's a few other names there. But
Yeah,
any other...
I want to mention something real quick. Adam Hamas, I feel like, isn't seen as, to a lot of people, as like an all-star or a superstar, or if you guys know what I'm saying, like a prominent, like the Macbeths, the Barellas, but he's won 5 Elite Series. I think he's probably the most underrated player of that caliber, in my opinion, where he, like, no one picks him to win. I guarantee, like obviously someone probably didn't, but like no one's picking him to win any event pretty much, and then he always does. And like, he's so underrated and sneaky like that. And I think we got to start putting, not us, but people need to start putting some respect on his name as like one of the elites.
I'm doing really quick math, which means it could be wrong, but he may be only like the 21st player to have, or 20th player something, to have 5 wins.
Yeah.
Career wins.
Yeah.
For major and elite. So
yeah. So
what are we going to say, Nick?
I think it just kind of capped off a really good last tournament, going from, I think he said 58th place to 2nd place, and then coming into this one, and then I think this was technically a wire-to-wire victory, right? And so I don't know, it was just 2 really, really good weeks. I think this is a perfect time for his confidence to really get going. I mean, we're about to have one more Elite Series event and then 2 majors back-to-back, pretty much, the World Championships being the biggest one in our sport. So this is the right time to get hot, especially getting used to the European life out there. And it seems like he settled in very well right off the rip. So I thought it was awesome. Adam's a great dude, great friend of mine. And so it's exciting to be able to see him kind of keep capitalizing on these events.
Yep. Well, again, five wins. And pop quiz. Is this his first time ever getting more than 1 win in a season? The way I asked that gives it away.
No, it's Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz in,
was it 2019?
Maple Hill.
No, later than that, Nick. 2021.
Wasn't it the Elite Plus events? Wasn't it the first year of Elite Plus? Didn't he win Portland?
No, Santa Cruz and MVP.
Santa Cruz and Maple Hill. Yeah.
But he did win Portland.
I thought that was 2019.
He did win Portland 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Santa Cruz, Maple
So he
Hill.
won 2 this year. He won 2 back then, and then he won
in
Portland.
2021. Yep.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
So pretty awesome for Hamas. But I just really quick, Sullivan, Tipton, Matt, obviously you were giving a narrative of Gannon, Buhr, and Adam, and a little bit of Mio Hamalainen in there, Daniel Davidson. But Sully was like, he was multiple holes ahead, but he had the lead once or twice.
Yeah.
So just talk about really hot. Like, he's playing really well. I know he was kind of on our couch show last week or 2, but
what was I going to say?
So you can come back to it. KJ USA over in Europe, who we rarely ever talk about nowadays, finished on the podium. It was a tie. It was like a 5-way tie or 6-way tie for the podium, whatever it is. But that's his first podium finish since the first event of 2023.
Wow.
So good for him.
Yeah.
Grinding out and getting up there. I mean, a fairly strong field overall, right? Sometimes the European events are a little bit lighter, but I don't think this one really was. So great showing for him. And then how about Paul Macbeth? Yeah,
Not a good one.
He won this event 2 years,
2 years
ago.
Two.
When he went on the big European swing for him.
Yep.
And he seemed pumped up on social media to get out there. And I agreed and picked him for my lock. But finishing out of cash, and he's done that a few times. So it's not like he had the most, but like that is like super, super rare. So I don't know if we've heard anything from him, but maybe it's just really a bad second round overall. But I don't know, just thought I'd mention, I mean, Ricky also probably expected a strong performance finishing in 22nd. And, we can pick other names out of the list, multiple major winner, Isaac Robinson. There's a lot of people who didn't really knock it out of the park. But that's the way it goes. So
that was
anyway.
What I was thinking was you mentioned Sullivan Tipton. This is our pop-off player of the year, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to do double check, meaning over the previous year and the previous year, like he is excelling by far more than anybody this year. That was his first ever podium finish at a Disc Golf Pro Tour event. This one.
Awesome. Yeah, so bad he had to share it with 6 other people.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
He,
having him even on like we've interviewed him at least twice this year. And I just think if I were to summarize it, it's like he's finally all in. Like it was just like kind of life stage, transition, travel. He's now spending more time with elite pros like Gannon, Buhr, and others. And I just think like he obviously has the talent and working at it, but it's just all coming together. Killing it. What are you going to say, Nick?
He was playing extremely well. Josh, you brought this up just a few minutes ago. The final round, I mean, he was 7 down through 11.
Yeah.
So he was killing it with 1 bogey. Yeah. And then 12 through 18, he finished 2 over. He went bogey, par, 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 par.
Yeah, he could have won it, literally, because he only finished 3 off the lead. And he, like you said, he went 2 over on 5 holes. So
yeah. And that's where, he just he fizzled out. It's almost like he ran out of energy for it. And kind of going back to Macbeth missing cash at this event, just barely, but missing cash. This was, we've seen out of Paul this year, a lot of times, he's playing well, right? I think he's playing better than last year. He hasn't gotten the win yet, but this was one of those events where we didn't see him put together a single round. When normally we're saying, he didn't put together the final round.
1 or 2 rounds are really hot. Yeah,
exactly. He's been in the lead. He's been in contention to potentially win. And then it was kind of like the final round. He fizzled out, lost energy, whatever it was. At this event, there was just kind of none of that. We saw him on feature card day 1, and we just didn't see, he started out with the par, got a really good 50-foot birdie putt on hole 2, and then took a triple bogey on hole 3 or something like that. It was kind of like,
fell apart.
Whoa, what the hell happened? And it just kind of seemed like that for the event. So
that'll be something to watch. I mean, we don't talk much about ratings, but it does always give us some relative gauge. I mean, he literally threw a 10-17 and a 992. We need to ask Stat Mando the last time he's thrown 2 rounds like that. He's had a few other like off events, like I think back in history, but some of them I think felt more injury related or other dynamics. So like, I don't know, just something to watch for, because usually that, when Europe comes around, Paul likes to kind of try to step it up. And now only 1 more elite and then 2 majors. And we're going to expect a top performance from him and Ricky and Isaac and all these other players. So maybe it's just the jet lag and the initial transition, and we'll see what comes out Crokel this coming weekend. But so we haven't talked about FPO. We want to go there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, I don't know if you
can
got
take
whatever. All right. So right out of the gate, we're just going to congrats to Evelina again. Now, was it last weekend? Was not an official pro tour, right? But it was the European Championship. She won that, and then won the event prior to that on a really, really hot stretch. And the story still is kind of like she drive for dough and don't worry about putting.
Yeah.
Whatever the saying is for her. I mean, the putting's kind of like stepped it up a bit, but not relative to the field, right? Relative to her past performance. Round 2, she still really struggled with it, right? She even kind of mocked herself a little on social media. Yeah, just like kind of acknowledging it's got to be frustrating for her. But if you're gonna pick up over 10 strokes on the next closest competitor just by driving, and you're gonna always be in the fairway and always reaching circle 2. Her circle 2 putting looks terrible because I think she lands there so often and just like basically parks it, like meaning she, like from circle 2 can just put it under the basket and is still getting birdies or pars. So that's her current method, and it is working. And talk about a lot of confidence. Now she wasn't leading going into the final round. Kristin was.
She wasn't even close to leading.
No,
going into the
nobody
final
was
round.
close to leading except Kristin by 6 strokes.
Yeah.
So again, I didn't do any stat crunching, but for Kristin to give up 6 strokes in the final round, and Kristin's had
More
a really
than
rough
6.
stretch. Yeah.
She
And
gave up
Kristin's had
9 strokes, I think. As in, like, she shot.
technically,
against the
yeah.
actual winner, correct? Yes, right, exactly. But she had a 6-stroke lead
Yeah.
over Ida Letomaki and Evelina going into the final round. Anyway, like it's so congrats to Evelina because I think she clearly earned it. We'll talk about Anakin in a moment, but Kristin, like that is just it's kind of hard to say is anything going on. Mental, like it's funny, she's fairly reserved, but there's some transparency, right? The way she's posting on social media. And so I think she feels like she owes something to kind of the sport and the fans. And so we do hear from her, but it just like, hopefully it's just something that hits all of us sometimes and you're just a little bit off. And I say hopefully because I mean for her own sake, right? Like you want to figure that out. Her drives, like her forehand drives were just like early releasing, like the kind of stuff I might do if I tried to throw forehand. And then it just was contrasted. Like her putting was fine for the tournament, but when it mattered down that stretch when things were falling apart, it kind of fell apart. I forget which hole. I'm going to say 16, maybe 17. I'd have to go back and remember, but like it was literally a perfect juxtaposition side by side. You have Kristin steps up for a putt, and the score is very close at this point. Maybe Evelina's ahead by 1, maybe. Kristin steps up for a putt. It's probably like 25 feet.
Says 26 feet.
Oh, so there you go. And she misses it low. Just like, so it's just kind of like us, just not happening. Just misses it low off the cage. And then Evelina, Matt, maybe you're looking, I felt like it was a similar distance, and she steps up and hits the putt. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that can happen on any given hole. So like I'm spotlighting one example, but my point is it was just like, it was in the spotlight of like the things that Kristin usually executes and Evelina doesn't. Like
Right.
Evelina said, I'm going to nail all these shots and I'm going to make the putt.
Well,
And Kristin didn't have it. So it's just kind of like just making it plain as day. That
I just wanted to say, Kristin from 26 feels like it should be in most of the time. Evelina from 16 feet, which is what they have as a stat, feels like it's always questionable from 16 feet. And so to your point, you're still thinking when Evelina steps up, oh, she could miss this, but it was the opposite. Yeah, it went the opposite.
And again, like me picking one hole, but that's what I'm saying is that hole kind of highlighted the way that final round went down, right? It was just like, it was brutal. I mean, that's a big lead to give up. And there were a couple backups and you saw them sitting there. And I just think there's a lot of, I mean, this is what a sport like golf is. So I'm not even saying anything unique to Kristin, but it's a lot of mental. It's a lot of mental game, I think, right now. Being the best in the sport and then hitting a rough patch. Like, how do you handle that rough patch? And whether that rough patch is physical, mental, being tired, maybe other things happening in life, like whatever it is, right? It all comes together on the course because that's when the camera's on. And that's how you gauge your results. You either finished or you didn't. And that's probably tough. So we'll see if she can work it out. We know she has the talent. That's not the question. But like, can she get out of this rut with 2 European majors on the doorstep? I still think she's got to be one of your favorites.
Yeah.
But Evelina would probably say, well, wait a minute. Maybe I should be your favorite. Mm-hmm. So going to be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think the commentators, which absolutely loves commentators, have been great. I love them when we go to Europe. You know, the last couple of weeks has been very, very fun to listen to. Anyways, you know, you can kind of tell by her posture, her body language, everything like that. Like she just seemed out of it in a sense. You know, Evelina's Evelina had 2 tournament aces back to back, you know, not this weekend, but prior to this, you know, was kind of living off that. She's very happy, very smiley, like, oh my gosh, what the heck just happened? But she's kind of like, you know, bouncing around in a good mood the whole time. She's making putts that in the past we could kind of find to be pretty questionable to where it's like, oh, she's 25 feet away. We might see 2 more putts, but she was hitting those and it had turned into, like Brian and the commentators were saying, you know, it's turning into a little bit of match play. Kristin's at 20 feet. Evelina's at 25, you know, but Evelina's putting for birdie. So let's see what happens. Oh my gosh, Evelina made it. Awesome. So she's still gaining a stroke on this par 4 or on this par 5. And then we're seeing these little mistakes out of Kristin that normally, you know, last year or 2 years ago, the Grand Slam year for her, we weren't talking about realistically at all. You guys were mentioning earlier, sawed off forehands. putts right now, her putts, I feel like, are dead center. They're just hitting 6 inches too low. You know, she's hitting the front of the cage and it's just plopping down right in front of the basket. And I don't know, there's just like no energy, no juice in the legs. And this is I have talked about this with people in person before, but we are fortunate to be friends with a lot of these pros, right? Like Kristin and Silver have stayed at my house multiple years for the MVP Open. And so this is where, when you talk about these people, it's almost like I don't want to feel like I'm bashing on my friends, but here we are as a sports talk show. Let's talk about it. And so one of the things that to me kind of stands out as of late is, I think it was last year, her and her tour manager had kind of parted ways. She started taking on more responsibility for herself, bigger sponsorships. She's kind of the queen of Estonia. Like she's being recognized as one of the best athletes out there. So she has a lot of pressure on herself. But then you read some of these Instagram stories, and I'm like, we've made jokes about this. Is this Chat GPT talking, or is this her herself talking in a sense? And sometimes I read these posts, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm talking to the smartest person in the world, or reading from the smartest person in the world, or if I'm just reading something that feels so like not genuine in a sense. Like it feels too robotic to me. And I don't know. I feel like maybe she thinks this is how she needs to express herself right now. And I have no idea what she's going on with mentally. I haven't talked to Kristin in months since the last time I've seen her, obviously. And so this is just kind of like the speculation aspect of things. But yeah, it almost just doesn't seem like she doesn't seem like herself. That's the only way that I can kind of say it.
After which event was it? And then we can probably move on to one or two other names here. Is like, I just think she's mentally tired.
Yeah.
Now, why is the whole speculation game that I don't care about, right? But like, it's like there's just something. There's just something. Whether it's tired about the ground, like I said, there could be literally a list of 20 different things. But remember, there was some event she was here in the U.S. and she's like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I just want to go home. And it's like, okay. Like, so, and again, tough. Like life is hard. So like, and for her, disc golf is a major, major, major chunk of life. And like you said, there could be lots of factors. So, what'd she say on social media? She also created a new Instagram account. Is that right?
For fun, follow it as in like for a different passion project.
Yeah.
I think, personalities kind of you're born with, whether you think you're born with them or not, we're not talking about, but like you're born with like the personality, and then like maybe what you're good at, let's say disc golf, and then it turns into a tour, and then it turns into your life, and you're like, that doesn't really fit who I am. So you got to figure out how to manage and balance that. I'm not saying that's what she said. I'm giving a perspective on like the possibilities of her being like, man, and you got to figure that out. As someone who, you guys will all laugh at this, as someone who's been in therapy many times, sometimes you just got to break through with a self-revelation of something, because you kind of get stuck and you're like, I don't understand that I'm stuck, or whatever it is. I'm not saying she needs therapy. I guess my point is things are just different for everybody. And I do feel like something is different for her. She could have this moment of refresh coming into these next events where she did go do something that rejuvenated her. She feels this massive weight off or whatever she's feeling, clear mind, and she just comes out and shreds. Like nobody would be surprised. Not at all. Now, if she goes the rest of the season, now this is, I guess, knock on wood for her sake, but if she goes the rest of the season without a win, that'd be something interesting to talk about, like what's going on. But that's not where we're at right now. If we look real quick before we transition out of that, she still has the most podium finishes out of anybody, and that includes tied for the most wins. So we're not talking about a season that's bad, but there is a streak here of interesting finishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it's just talking about trends. It's not even throwing alarm bells, but we're also acknowledging that we're seeing other things. It's attitudes, perspectives, drive, right? Because her last win was back in May. And not like for the best in our game, that's a while. So
it is.
But hey, my pop pick, Anniken Christensen Steen, finished second. So by the she was like in it, right down to the last few holes as well. So strong performance, ended up sharing second place with Kristin. And then we had somebody jumping up to finish. Annalie Tugis Manasti. I don't know, but finishing in fourth place. 6 shots back of second. So it was really kind of those top three. Now, we did see Ida Letomaki on coverage, and this is what I was mentioning before about some of these European players that we don't hear much or know much about, and then we see them, and you wonder at some point, that was the story of Kristin, right? Like some player who was playing in Europe that we didn't know as much and then kind of shows up, and so I'm always wondering, who are these next players who are starting to mature? Same thing with Silva, who, by the way, did not play this event due to sickness, which is why we don't, I think, see her on the leaderboard.
Speaking of that, I think we should get into Pop Drop Lock.
All right, let's do it.
And I get a text message from Nick after the round started. Silva is not playing. How does this work? Do I get
Sylvia.
0 points? And I was going to say Sylvia was never playing. But yeah, no, if you have someone as a lock and they don't play, it's unfortunate. If you have someone as a drop pick and they DNF, as in they started the event and don't finish, you do get points. 10.
It was tough because European time, I think when she had made the post, it was probably well into my bedtime. So there was no way I was seeing it and having a chance to switch it before 4 a.m. in the morning.
It's true. That's horrible.
Yeah, so that was tough, especially on what it would have been Friday, right? So my day off for the week, I slept in a little bit, which was nice. And I did get to watch some coverage in the morning, but I do remember waking up and her post was dropped out of PCS. I have a fever. And I'm just like, her posts are great. What I love about them when she posts on Instagram is literally got second place at Music City Open. And that's it.
Very
and
much
it's just
to the
like
point.
Nice. That's all I needed to know.
Chat GPT right there.
You got 0 for her as your lock. I got 0 for Ricky as my lock. And what's interesting? If you look at the stats for Pop Drop
I
Lock
got
this week,
0 for Paul as my lock.
if you look at the stats for Pop Drop Lock this week, anybody, I'm going to scroll a little ways here. Almost the whole top 20 finishers for this event, Pop Drop Lock, not like as in users. You listening to this, you play this game, users. Almost the top 20 got 0 for their lock pick in MPO. That's how wild the MPO was this week.
Look at the percentage of lock in FPO though. Yeah. The Evelina percentage, it was, insane actually. Excuse me. How many people picked Evelina, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's and all the zeros are Silva. So that's the only zeros up there is Silva. Nobody picked anybody. Wow, that's interesting too. Nobody picked anybody that didn't lock except for Silva, who didn't play. That's interesting. Okay. But let's just get into points. We're going to start with, I think it's Ben points. Ben, 55 points. Hey, that's not bad in the weeks where it's harder and harder to get points.
Oh, FPO is so hard to get points. It's
we lost Nick.
Nope.
FPO is hard.
I got 44 points in FPO alone. So.
But you did, Ben.
I did?
Oh, you got 22 points in FPO. That's good with 0 for Silva.
Yeah. So
that's
I
good.
guess it was a good FPO week.
Next up, we go to Josh for points. Josh, 56. 1 point more, 56.
Beat Ben by 1. Yeah, that's going to be a long climb out of a hole. But yeah, Matt, my strategy of picking Evelina to drop and to lock paid off because I basically get 20 net points from Evelina. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I did pick Annika Steen to pop off, and that she did, giving me 24 points. MPO was a struggle. I didn't lose anything there, but I just didn't gain much.
And going to Nick. I can't ask him about his picks, but I can see them here. Nick doesn't often play better than half the show. So Silva, 0. Evelina, -5, because he picked her to drop. He picked Kona to pop. She did a little bit. 8 points. Nicholas DeLocke got 0 for that. So
many
all of his points were on Ezra Aderhold and Ben Calloway. That's like 90% of his points.
Nailed it.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. And we'll talk in a minute about kind of the trend from between everybody else that's not on the show, how they picked. But my points up next, 93.
Ooh.
I mentioned this earlier, so I won't elaborate, but Ezra Aderholt really, I wasn't convinced I made a good pick. And then the last round, it was like, all right, it worked. And then I picked Eveline at a lock. Those were two great picks. The only other one I'm happy with, like that was like, yes, I knew it. I did it. It worked, was James Proctor. Like, I can't have full confidence in his season. That being said, was it married last year or this year? I don't remember now, but he got injured this year. Yeah, he got married last year, but he got injured. So he got married, then he went over to Europe and he played really well. I remember that. This year he's been injured a little bit, but I knew he was rehabbed where he could join the tour again. Then he goes to Europe. I'm like, he's going to do well. And he did. He popped off 18 spots.
And he's still recovering from injury. He said he's not even really throwing forehands, so he's limited.
It's the European event. Yeah, but you know what? He does throw forehands, but not a lot. So, but it's still limiting him.
Yeah.
So there you go. If we look at the season leaderboard for Pop Drop Lock, I am still holding on to third, but I will tell you what, the top and the first and second place, Humorous Monkey in first, Courageous Hare in second. They've crested 1,000 points, and they did it with amazing. I don't know if it's luck.
I was going to say, I don't get it. Like, I look every time and it's like obscure like picks and it's like always like a home run.
They were number 3 and number 5 for picks for the event, and they crushed it with 128 and 134. But here's funny thing. It was a good week for points if you picked a Timu. You see that?
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah. Different Timus gave big points on the pop.
Timu Talikainen, 51, and
played
Timu Lampinen, 63. I mean, that's massive. That's how these players did well that week. They knew something we didn't. Killed it with those picks. Wow.
Timu.
But like I said, everyone pretty much got 0 on MPO picks. What a week. Or locks. All right. Should we roll out while we're here? Should we roll out our picks for Crokel?
Yeah. We should, but really quick, because I kind of... for some reason, my webcam crapped out for a second, but I think I got it fixed. Anyways, I do want to shout out one person in Pop Drop Lock. Elegant Ren 2339 scored 79 points. He got 51st place. He didn't put any FPO picks in. Those are strictly MPO, and he smoked me.
It's a strategy.
I had a 3-pick advantage over him, and I still got smoked.
It's because he picked Timu.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going
and Ezra Aderholt, and he got 0 for his MPO locks. He literally cashed on 2 players.
Two people. I got smoked. I have 4-pick advantage pretty much, and I got screwed. Anyways, yeah, we can.
I'm not convinced there's a real advantage to not picking. That being said, it's a strategy. So if you're like, I just have 0 confidence in any pick and it's risky, then don't pick.
No, you still got to at least pick a lock.
You should. That's true.
You can't lose anything.
You can't lose points. That's right.
So that's a bad strategy.
Interesting.
Sorry.
All right, let's roll them out. If everyone has their picks updated, we can get to those. We'll start at the top with Nick. If you put them in Dropbox, there you go. They're up on screen for you.
What are we doing? Crokel. So in because it's sometimes harder for me to read.
This is still average finish based, by the way, everybody. Yes. We will always tell you if it's rating.
Starting in the FPO side, we're going to go Sarah Hokum, averaging 21st right now, hoping for a little pop from her. Drop Cap Merch, averaging 10th. Excuse me. And I'm going to go back-to-back with the Silva Saarinen pick. I'm hoping that she doesn't have a fever this week, and then maybe I'll be able to get some points out of her.
Same.
Yeah. Going on to the pop side, we're going to go to the other lot. We're going to go to Mr. Silver lot, averaging 52nd right now. MPO drop is Daniel Davison, actually only averaging 34th, but I'm just kind of hoping for a bad week, and my drop players who are usually pretty high up, I haven't had too much luck with lately, so we're going to go with him. And from no cash to all the cash, Mr. Paul Macbeth is going to be my lock for this week.
How many Paul Macbeths do you have left?
3, actually.
Oh, haven't been picking them enough.
Yeah. Yep, I have 3 picks remaining.
All right, we'll come to my picks here. So Jakub Simrad, I feel like somebody like a Ben Kenny might do the same thing. We'll see. But
we'll see.
We'll see. I just feel like we have similar strategies sometimes. But Jakub Simrad, as someone who got second place at this event last year, I'm not saying that always implies anything, but obviously he knows how to play that course well. Will he put it together? I don't know, but he's pretty far down the leaderboard. So as average finishes, Evan Smith, Ben, aren't you glad your friends told you that Evan Smith had been?
Yes. So glad. I don't know what else. Okay. But to be fair, I was kind of right. He wasn't on all of the West Coast swing, which was when I started touring. So that's why I didn't see him out there and was so confused. They're like, he's played all the events. No, he didn't. He didn't play West Coast. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't. But I picked Joel Freeman, and he did great too. And he's not even touring anymore, which is crazy.
He had played Champions Cup, and then he didn't play again until the Preserve. So to your point, that was probably when you saw him first.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, he was playing so well, and you're like, oh, he's gonna drop or whatever. He's only played one event, and they're like, no. So you changed it, and then he did well. So it was a good swap. But all that being said, I'm picking him to drop. This is what you were doing, that they saved you from, and now I'm picking him to drop. I will give you my inside scoop. Some people, I don't know if they follow my picks or not. I'm doing something right this year, so I don't know if it's luck or doing something right, but Evan Smith traveling over. Jet lag seems to be a real thing for people who aren't familiar or used to it. I think we saw a lot of shakeup this week because of probably partly due to that. Like, I don't know how else to explain a lot of the discrepancies with 0 people getting their lock picks right. It's something's off. So he didn't play PCS, right? I don't think so. So yeah, he did not. So I'm just thinking that could play a factor. So I'm going drop on him. And then is this bad? I'm picking Ricky to lock after a week where he didn't. I don't know, but we're going back with him. My pop and my pop pick for FPO, Jenny Karppinen, same as last week. She got me a few points. I think she'll do it again. Katie Tati dropping, just playing the averages with that one. I don't really have any other reason. I just feel like she's a little high for the field that's going to be there. Obviously not a little high. I don't know if Wada's at this event, but she's a little, she averages a little higher. And then lock, I'm going Sylvia, Nick.
We're always going to have one, right?
But I had the same question as you. I looked her socials. There's not going to be an update till who knows when. And is her fever gone? I don't know.
3:30 in the morning, the day of the event.
So we'll see. And for those being like, you're not picking Kristin, here's my reason for that. I have, I think, one more Kristin pick. So I've already picked her 4 times this year. And I have to hold out till I know when she's going to be that powerhouse. And I don't know yet when it is, but that's why I'm going Silva. Because Evelina's taking a break. So there you go. Ben, you're up. Let's get him.
Oh, man. Yeah, I got to go on the...
Too blurry?
Yeah, I'm going Pop, Dennis Augustin, Denka, drop Itu Tuomanen, lock Ricky, Pop, Jenny, Matt. We always have like 2 of the same at least. Oh, I can see now.
I cleared it up for you.
Drop, I'm going with Rachel Turton, and lock Silva Saarinen. Boom.
When you say it like that, it sounds like Lord of the Rings.
Silva Saarinen. Sauron.
The last 9, yeah.
He's like Sauron.
Sauron.
All right. Ben, I'm talking a little smack. I've got you by more than 200 points now.
I know you've been crushing it. I just haven't been doing.
What's
my
the
research.
strat? What's the strat?
The strat, I've just been not as into pop drop block as I was last year, and I've just been.
That's because I'm
praying.
killing you. That's why you're not into it, because you were into it until you started losing. You're like, I have to beat Matt. This is important. This is important.
Well, no, I was never into it because I picked Austin Turner to drop like 5 weeks in a row, and he didn't play 5 events in a row. So like, I just never checked. So I don't know. But,
you really wanted those points from that time when you submitted.
I did one because I deserved them. That's why.
That's why. It's the principle.
We'll see. I do want to beat you, obviously, but I'm blaming my poor performance this year on just.
It's an actual thing. I will give you that. When last year I was doing well, and then I started traveling for work like a lot of weeks, and I'm not saying that's how you got the win at the end there. But what I am saying is it is harder. All of a sudden you're like, dang it, I got to get my picks in. You're trying to on the fly.
It's like
and
you're
then
just picking. You're not really doing research. Like last year, dude,
Yes.
last year I was like all over in Europe. I was looking at all the FPO players, like in the recent ratings and, you know, stuff like that.
Well, we
So,
still have some rating events coming up, Ben. I think that's your bread and butter, the rating events.
That's my bread, but we'll see.
All right, Josh, let's pull your picks up. Here we go.
All right, here I am. So, Pop, Aaron Gossage, again, who I picked last week, just like him in the field. Kyle Klein to drop. I mean, he dropped a little bit this last week, so just, again, playing a numbers game. And to lock is Niklas. I've picked him quite a few times this year, so I'm going to run out of picks, but I like him to pull out a win at Krokle. And for FPO, again, so I'm doubling up on my Pops from last week. Anneken Christensen Steen again, just playing well, and I like the field. To drop is your all lock, Silva. So how about that? We will see. I'm wondering if any kind of lagging, sickness, tired comes into play. We will find out. And then to lock is brand new European, well, American, but showing up in the European scene, Cadence. Who I just think has real potential to show up there and play really steady. And given the uncertainty with Kristin, Evelina not in the field, and maybe the questions around Silva, I'm like, Cadence has got as good a chance as anybody.
What was that file change, Ben? It just updated.
Oh, it's everything's still the same. I changed it probably I changed who I was gonna have drop right before I went on. Thank you.
What?
I don't know what's going on.
Mystery. I changed one of my picks right before
it just now updated. Let's go backwards real quick.
You can see my picks are on the board. What I want
now. Are they the same as what they were?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I changed it like maybe a second before mine came on.
Oh, like a second before you came. I got you. Just took a little bit
to update
didn't
on
this side.
On yours, yeah.
Got it. I'll catch you. I can't have you be getting any closer than 200 points. Good times. This is interesting, Josh. Why didn't you do Silva, Saarinen drop and lock, just like Evelina?
Yeah, I could have, but I think Cadence might win.
That's what I did last week. I doubled up on points. Okay, cool. Thank you to Hooligan Discs. Ben, you see people throwing Hooligan out there sometimes, right? When you're on the road?
Absolutely. Their cash is one of the best discs in disc golf. And if you haven't tried a cash, you have to. It's so good.
I will say,
love it.
Yeah, I'll say winners of Pop Drop Lock are getting shipped Hooligan Disc prizes every single week. We have listeners all over the world. They're shipping prizes to winners in other countries, Norway included. Shout out to the most recent winner. Well, most recent as of like Discmania Challenge. Awesome. Well, we are just about to, I think we have a guest lined up. He's not in our green room yet, but we do have a guest lined up, and maybe he's, sitting there checking out our live stream saying, I'll sign in soon. No rush. Enjoy your avocado and tomato toast, which is
he's a chef.
Pizza. Transition topic, random. I just talked about pizza, and I had my gummies earlier, my sour gummy worms, sour gummy. What is your favorite candy? We've done this for putting before.
Ooh.
Like if you had to have a putt, what would the candy be called? Like,
those freaking nerd clusters now.
Nick, I was about to say right now, nerd clusters are dominating the sport for everyone, dude.
It's insane.
It's a tour candy.
No, like dominating the candy game.
The candy
I feel like
sport.
It's everyone's favorite candy right now. Like they're dominating.
Who's sponsoring Worlds? It's like gummy, like Haribo Bears or something.
Really?
Oh,
I think I saw that.
they've done that.
Yeah, they're one of the sponsors for I think Worlds. I think
you're right.
Yeah,
is it Worlds?
Yep. So that'll be the top candy out of that event at least.
Love
we can get them to sponsor our show.
My favorite candy is definitely sour gummies, and I've done this free advertisement. Oh, it's going to be green screen. The Albanese, but these are the sour gummy worms. Amazing. These are the ones that have been famous on the show with people in studio.
Yeah, I miss the studio snacks. Are we gonna have an in studio session at MVP this year? Come on.
Can
We
we
have
like
to.
can we like deck
We
out
could-
your RV, your house?
If we could, I mean, I'd be totally down to do it at my place. We have the whole finished basement downstairs.
We could
set
also
up
do it at my boat barn.
massive. Yeah.
Can we have a little corner
like the
room?
finish basement, like the fins, like we can get all the fins in there.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the
we get.
finished
Oh yeah,
basement.
it'd be the
finished basement.
Yeah, literally a finished basement.
Ben Calloway posted, "Oh, the Fens with benefits are back together." So everyone's play on word with Fens and friends and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But without further ado,
For what it's worth,
Yeah.
well, hold on. I like paydays. Is that obscure?
Oh, I like paydays too,
I'm
Josh.
getting
Just
very
not-
hungry.
Here's the thing: if I go on like a 25-mile mountain run, there's nothing like a few paydays along the way to give you the calories. you
Wait,
need.
Josh, you know what's funny?
I like
people-
actual paydays.
Use
These are
like
ridiculous.
extreme athletes, like ultra marathoners, use nerd clusters on their run because they're like the same amount of whatever in like the runners,
I know you should
things.
see all the candy. I've got bags of candy over here that are just for
but
my runs,
it's
man.
cheaper. Yeah.
All right,
So
For my
nerd
runs,
clusters.
I've got
bringing
it
them
all
in.
over here.
Oh, what up, Simon? Can you hear us?
I can hear. Can you hear?
I can hear.
Yes.
I can hear what you hear.
Sounds good.
Can you hear what? What's your favorite candy, Simon?
Oh, nerds. If we're speaking American candy, it's gotta
Clusters.
be the nerds.
Nerd
especially
clusters, though.
those clusters.
Yes, we just said that. That was my favorite.
And
And Nick's.
but European candy unfortunately rules over American, generally speaking.
Okay.
So, what's your favorite European?
Is it a chocolate thing in Europe?
I mean, the chocolate is mostly superior, of course. Yeah, but I don't know if I would really classify chocolate as candy.
Oh,
But no, I like the sour snakes
Yes.
by
yes.
Haribo, the twin snakes.
Oh yeah, those are good. Those
so
are
good.
So
Yeah.
literally, we were just saying. So I do a lot of long distance running, and like candy is a great fuel. That's actually one of my favorites. I throw them in a nice Ziploc bag and chow down while I'm running. It's the best.
Yeah, that just reminded me of a podcast I recently watched on Daniel Tosh's podcast. He had like this crazy runner who ran from like LA to New York or something
Yeah.
in like a record amount of time, and he said his fuel was donuts mainly all day, which kind of blew our mind. We were listening to it and we were like, we never really think about that. If you're running like that, all you really need is calories and energy.
No, when your body's finely optimized and it's literally burning it as it comes in, like yeah,
Yeah.
you can almost eat anything. Almost.
Pretty impressive.
When we say
Anyway.
gummies, we already had this joke at the start of the show. Disc golfers better not be eating any special gummies heading over to Europe. I mean, when you as a pro disc golfer at the top level, Simon, when you hear something like that, does this intrigue you for the sport? Are you disappointed? Are you excited? Like, what kind of feelings do you have when you hear that kind of a thing?
What do you mean by that kind of thing? Like,
Like-
the joke you just made, or that they're testing
yeah,
you?
okay, yeah. So their possibility of being tested. I mean, I guess that's been a thing for a while, but it's a new conversation because apparently there was some type of, I don't want to say intel or source, but there was some type of intel saying, hey, the Americans are probably getting tested this year. So like as a sport, I guess that's a bigger conversation, but maybe just in general for this event coming, like what kind of feelings do you have hearing that this maybe ramped up?
I honestly don't really know anything about it. Personally, for me, it won't do anything because I have not participated in any kind of substance like that in pretty much about 15 years, which is pretty crazy to say. And I don't really know what it means, like what they're really testing for. I guess the goal is to have a more fair playing field at the end of the day, right? And I think if that's achieved through this, then I guess it's a good thing. But overall, I don't really know what I would classify as really like performance enhancing and whatnot. So I don't really know all the science behind these things and what actually happens to those who use it a lot or not. Like I really don't know much about this kind of stuff at all. I've never really dabbled in that whatsoever, and I'm not interested at all either.
And so maybe that partly answers it. But have you been at any events where you're aware testing has occurred at all in all your years, like in Europe or the US, where you're aware that some drug testing was happening?
No, never drug testing. I think the only testing that I've ever been a part of at a disc golf tournament was Japan Open years ago, when they actually tested the weight of our discs before we were allowed to play.
Oh yeah.
But obviously that's a completely different story.
Then let's ask this question too, then, because we've heard or been told that there's been a, quote, room that UC had set up at some of these European events where it was available or ready for if somebody was needed to be tested. You were aware of that place or that room? It sounds funny to say.
No.
Oh,
I guess it's
okay.
probably just, it must be just like a guideline in Europe at big events that they have to have some kind of testing facility on site or something along those lines. So
Right.
I guess they had a room, a locker room somewhere, but no, I have never heard of that and was never made aware or concerned about it. No.
So let's say you don't have, a strong opinion or an opinion because you're not familiar, educated enough on the benefits, this, that, whatever it is, right? That's kind of what I'm hearing you say. But let's say it does happen at this event, right? At Worlds, and let's just throw a number out there. They test 15, they test 20, they test 30 Americans. And let's just say a percentage of those do come back with one of the things they're testing for, which is cannabinoids or whatever. Let's say it is in their blood or in their urine or whatever it is. Is this, like we were talking about it earlier, like, does that look bad for disc golf? Is it pump disc golf up? Is it, we don't care, we don't know, it's an American thing? Like, how is this perceived around the rest of the world? Do you know? I know you don't partake.
I don't really think either way it would be significant in either direction. I would hope not. I mean, I don't know. This whole topic has kind of flown past me, to be honest. I have not really paid close attention to this.
That's all right. You got an email.
Is it a big deal?
You got an email,
right?
A
big deal? I don't.
He doesn't even know that
email that I got.
Someone would tell Simon if he had to worry about it, and he doesn't, which is why you don't need to worry yourself about it. I actually am with Simon that, like, unless something weird happens, which I don't even know what I mean when I say that, but unless something weird happens, I think it will be a non-story, even if somebody tests positive for something, just because it's like, that's what happens in sports. Like, that's the way it goes. And someone may get a fine or they may not be able to play next year. I suppose if it's the winner of the event, maybe that gets weird. But from everything I generally know, the most likely top 10 to 15 to 20 players are unlikely. I can't guarantee it, but they're unlikely to test positive for something. By the way, especially given that everybody was given more than 30 days notice. Because even if one of them is like, maybe every once in a while I enjoy something, they're not going to, because these players are trying to win a world championship. So I'm kind of with Simon that, of course, it's a story because it's interesting the way the PGA announced it. It kind of seemed like alarmist, but I actually think it'll end up being a non-story. We'll see.
I'm in that camp as well. Not much of a staggered stance there. So when are you heading over there? Hitting the long flight?
I'm leaving on Saturday. Get to Estonia on Sunday afternoon. And then we have about 4 days, to prepare for the first major. And then we kind of have this weird little off week between Estonia and Finland, which I'm actually really looking forward to that week, because we have the Airbnb in Finland for 2 whole weeks set up.
Ooh, that's nice.
So we're basically going to be in town. I'll be in town 9 days before the tournament starts, which is a first for me by like 5 days. So I'm just excited to really feel like I've arrived. I've never played like a European major with like a lot of lead time like that, and like being really like comfortable with the time zone switch and all that. So it's going to be fun to check out maybe some other local courses. I've never really had time to explore that area more than the stuff that I've had to see over the years. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the 3 weeks. even though I'm at the same time really dreading this trip because I'm going to be away from my family for 3 weeks, which
Well, I was just going
is
to
freaking hard.
Okay, so your family's not going with you at all for this
Ooh,
stretch.
3 weeks. Yeah, that is a lot.
We
dude.
thought about it. Yeah, we thought about doing it, but a 3-year-old and a
It's a lot.
1-year-old
Yeah,
together
it's a
on a
lot.
plane.
Yeah. And
I'm
there is
not
going to be
great.
some leisure, but you also are there for work, and so you want to focus on the events. It'd probably be a weird tension. It'd be tough.
Yeah, especially what we're doing this year with me and Dustin being basically together nonstop with a camera and mic'd up basically the whole time and just trying to film anything and everything. Staying super busy, not just while we're filming, but obviously also everything has to be posted and edited. So yeah, this year is crunch time. Maybe next year it'll be a bit more family oriented, and maybe we'll see what it brings, but plans are being made for next year.
Maybe, unless you have to defend your world championship, right? Well, I guess it's not in Europe next year, so
who knows?
Who knows? Are you flying over with anybody else, or are you the last person from the US heading over?
I don't think I'm the last. Some people are actually only playing Worlds and are skipping the first major in Estonia. I'm flying with Dustin. So
did you get him first class?
Or
maybe he's buying his own ticket. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I'm paying for all this stuff, of course. But
awesome.
We'll be comfortable-ish.
Nice. I saw Gannon's mom on social media. She's pretty active there, supporting her son. She's like, "What's the best way to travel? Aisle seats, window seats? If you have the choice, Simon, what are you going with? Aisle or window? There are pros and cons to each."
Yeah, I've always been window, but now that I'm getting older and I'm more hydrated than ever, I constantly feel annoyed that I have to ask people to get up because I'm like a bit too polite and scared to like annoy people. So I am switching to aisle now just so I have the freedom to get up when I want to.
Aisle is superior. I was the same way. I was a window guy. I always picked window. But ever since I tried aisle, I mean, it's because my biggest thing is that, but you get to stretch your right leg a little more if you need to,
or your left,
or your left.
What side you're on?
Yeah.
I started.
True.
I started a poll in the chat, see if people are aisle or window. I'm team aisle.
If you're expecting to try and sleep, window's better, but otherwise, aisle wins. That's my.
Oh yeah, because you can sleep on the window.
I'm window.
Personally, I don't love flying. Sorry, Nick. What did you say? Something?
No, I was saying I love window. I will, unless I have to pay a stupid amount of money for it. I try to get window.
Yeah, I don't love flying. Even after hundreds of flights, I still get a little bit nervous. And the reason I also like window is because I can see what's going on, and I know the chances that something happens is basically zero. But if something were to happen, I at least want to see what's happening
You'd be the first
outside
one
of the airplane. So I can at least prepare myself for whatever's coming. That's why I've always avoided aisle or middle as well, because so many people that sit at the window just never open it, and that makes me nervous.
That's funny.
Yeah, I travel a fair amount. You're starting to give me like, the people who shut the windows and sit all that stuff. Yeah, I feel like though if you know what's going on, Simon, you just have more time to be anxious about it.
No, I like knowing what's going on, and I'll take whatever comes.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey,
I
want to ask a little bit. You mentioned you're traveling with Dustin, and so obviously your approach to media this year. How has that been going for you? I mean, you talked about being extra busy, so like it's a different dynamic, right? On tour, you're focused on capturing footage and producing footage, and I presume you're focused on trying to perform well at the event. You're obviously continuing to grow your YouTube and social media presence, but just like tell us a little bit about like, is this doing what you want it to do? Is this a great model for you?
I mean, maybe. This could be a really long answer if we want it to be. Let me see how I can make this short and sweet, but still informative. So, yes, and no. So it's like, I'm really glad we're doing it. It is a bit more work than I at first thought it was going to be. And with my role on tour, which is basically saying yes to every opportunity I get to be part of practice rounds or skins matches or any kind of media obligations there is, I am basically just running around from camera to camera, from microphone to microphone. And I have gotten this year so far 2 practice rounds to myself. 2.
Wow.
Out of every single event, I've gotten 2 practice rounds to myself, which one was in Washington, where I got second place, and the other one was in Waco, where I got second place. So there is definitely something to be said about in-tournament performance, that if you just don't get the preparation right, which for everyone that can mean something else, but to me, it seems like I need at least one practice round that is actually a practice round, more or less off camera, more or less off this performing a practice round rather than actually playing a practice round, which is 2 different things. If you've ever actually tried it, you will realize that obviously being on camera or off camera is very different. So yeah, there's that aspect that my tournament performance is not as consistent as I would like. I mean, my entire career it's been that way, but this year we've added so many good habits and got rid of so many bad ones that I had hope that it would show on the course for me. But oh my God, we are just so unbelievably busy that I think that kind of almost counteracts all the good things we're doing. So it is, yeah, it's a bit of a straddle and a bit of a balance act, constantly trying to figure out what is too much, what is just enough, what is worth it, what isn't worth it. And yeah, coming to our videos that we're making, me and Dustin, yeah, I mean, they are doing okay. Actually, they're doing pretty good for disc golf standards, and for what that content can do, I think I am really happy with the quality of content we're putting out. We've actually tried a couple different approaches to this kind of behind the scenes / vlog / just fun stuff off the course and on the course, trying to bring in other pros when possible, doing Airbnb stuff. And it still hasn't really caught on the way I hoped it would. So financially speaking, it is not as successful as I hoped it would be, but it is still on the justifiable side of things. Yeah. But it's like it's a grind, to say the least.
Do you have I don't know how you handle this, like the end of season, like look back review, like whether it's with MVP or like, I don't know, just yourself, where you go, yeah, we're not doing that again next year. Like, do you have that freedom to kind of like, again, I don't know MVP's involvement with some of that stuff, but like where you're like, we're not doing that. Like, you have that ability, and do you do that kind of thing?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, this is all, my YouTube channel is all me. Okay. No one else makes choices or gets to say really anything. So yeah, I had this idea to do this. I went through all my YouTube analytics and projections and all that stuff. And I mean, I pitched it to Dustin and a couple others as well. And we had a pretty good game plan, and we thought this could be freaking huge. But it just wasn't quite what we hoped it would be. But we're still doing it. We're finishing it. I'm really happy that we started it and that we're going to do it. But yeah, we'll see what next year brings. I haven't really thought that far yet. It's kind of a week-to-week kind of battle.
Yeah, and then this is our job. We're speculating a little bit about Kristin. She's been making, I don't want to say cryptic posts, because she's actually pretty transparent with like, oh, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Maybe she'll say some of that, or I stubbed my toe or whatever. Like, she's pretty transparent, but it seems like she's in this grind period right now. That's what it seems like from our perspective. You've had that in your past. Like, I remember watching you a lot of years in the tour, and sometimes you get to a place where you're like, I'm done with disc golf, right? I buy a portion of it. Where are you at now with disc golf? Because I feel like now for you, like it has become, I feel like more than ever, and I'm not saying this from like a negative perspective, but more than ever, it seems like a career for you. Like you actually have a solid career. Does it change how that feels for you, or does it still feel sometimes like a grind?
I love disc golf.
Right.
I love throwing discs. I think I will my entire life. If I could stop traveling forever, I probably would right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if my family comes with me, I can see still doing it a handful of years or maybe more, who knows. But like driving to the airport by myself, sitting in lines, waiting, sitting on a plane, getting a rental car, Airbnb or hotel, whatever, and just doing that by myself for the 13th time next year, it just does not sound possible to me. I'm just over that. But yeah, speaking of Kristin, what makes Kristin's jobs harder than mine, in my opinion, and that I think I've been lucky basically my entire career, is that I feel like I've never had pressure really for performance. Of course, sometimes I definitely felt like I was a bit in that boat, but I feel like, a lot of Kristin's greatness comes from that she's just the best and just so consistently the best. And if you're just for so long so good, the expectations that and the pressure that's on your shoulders at every single tournament to keep being that good, that's just something I never really had to deal with. And that's got to be really freaking hard. And I can so see how it will just physically and mentally just wear you out after a while, especially if things aren't going your way on the course. Like it'll only take 1 or 2 bad rounds or events and you feel like everyone's turning against you. It happens so quick.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short on a few things there. You've talked about this. If my disc golf history is correct, like there were a period of times where you said like, "Oh, I'll use the word burned out." But when asked like, "Do you prefer to like play well or like show off?" I'm really totally, just filling words there. But like if you're not having fun, you don't like it. And you also probably have some of this feeling of people are coming out to watch me throw fun shots. So like you still have some of that pressure in a different way. Maybe it's not like get first, but it's like we want to see Simon play, do well. So I think you've probably experienced some of that. But
I guess the battle I have to fight is that if people come to watch me or watch me online, in my head at least, this is what I tell myself, about half of them want to see crazy shots and me just go for everything and just have fun. And the other half is actually rooting for me to do well in the tournament. So every round I have to decide, which one am I going to please? The people that want me to play well or the people who just want to see stupid, crazy shots?
I don't know.
You can't please them all. We all know that.
I don't know if this is true or not. I feel like most of the audience...
What pleases your sponsor more?
Yeah, what pleases...
Hey, I will never figure out what actually sells the most disc. Is it the one crazy shot or the cool moment or is it winning a tournament? It could be both the same or sometimes this, sometimes that. I don't know.
You just got to figure out how to win tournaments while throwing crazy shots, and then you're golden.
I've done it like 4 times.
Yeah, exactly. So you just got to figure that out again now.
Oh, man. So we've got, I said last week, like 10 events left, but then I realized I was basing it off of a little bit poor information. There's probably now 12 events left or something in that line. How would you rate your season to this point, Simon?
Missing a win.
Okay.
Basically. I've been really close twice. I think Waco and Cascade could have swung either way down the stretch. And I think I've had 3 other top 10s, so it's been okay. Very typical Simon year so far, with mostly pretty solid and then just a couple slip ups where you're like suddenly I'm in like 35th or 50th place without a real explanation behind it. So I was really hoping to clean it up for the rest of the season, have a couple more good finishes, especially in these 2 majors coming up. Big finishes, top 10s, top 5s would be really nice for my year. And then, I mean, sprinkling in a win. I'm looking at D-Glow. I'm looking at MVP Open, of course. Would be pretty cool.
Yeah, you do have a few outlier events. With the game we play, Pop Drop Lock, out of 9 events, you're averaging 18th place. Which is actually better well, I don't want to say by far, but significantly than last year's average. And if you get rid of those outlier events, I know you can't, but if you get rid of those those 3 outliers, 37th, 28th, 55, you get rid of those. You're averaging 7th place. So like at the good events, you're doing great. So
yeah, the only thing I ask for from the disc golf universe is to tell me why I'm sometimes good and sometimes just not. I just don't understand. Like, I don't do anything different. I don't try less or this, and the courses are all pretty laid out for me. Like the fact that I got second in Waco and Cascade out of all the freaking tournaments we're playing, it makes no sense. And I wish I would understand when I'm out there, like, what should I change to like do better? Because sometimes I'm just like puzzled and I don't know what the problem is. So if you ever figure it out, please let me know.
Okay, I figured it out. No, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out my idea. Like, I'll watch you when you make it on live coverage, and I've played with you locally, practice, whatever. You do question that a lot. The difference between a good shot and a bad shot, right? It can frustrate you because you're like, really, what changed? I threw the same thing more or less, and results are very different. And that's what I'm hearing you ask right now. And I'm thinking, like, I feel like maybe it's not changed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's changing anything. I think it's just kind of, this is twice in one episode it's come up. Therapy for me has taught me this thing called acceptance commitment, which just means it is what it is.
I can tell you what my self-diagnosed problem is. The problem is that I'm such a feel player.
Yes.
Like, I do nothing really by any kind of what's the word? Like, there's no
logic.
There's no real system or logic behind the things I do. I kind of just go by feel. I mean, I've been throwing discs since I'm 2 years old. I've been doing it my entire life. Like, I just don't think about anything I do. I just do it because I've always been doing it. So when something's off, I lack the ability to analyze what is off because I don't really pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. So when something's off, I know something's off, but I just don't know what's off, so I can't fix it.
Is it off because of the feeling or because of the result? Because my point was, like, results are going to be off a little bit sometimes, as in, like, it hits a stump on the ground and rolls away, right? You didn't have control over that. But you're saying, actually, you might feel that something's off. Like, when you're throwing, it feels off.
Yeah, it could be anything from grip to timing to footwork. Like, I don't even know what's off. It might be just mental. Like,
tired.
I'm like talking to. I have a caddy, Dustin, every single round, who's with me every round. This is the first time ever that I've had someone with me every round. And I mean, sometimes when the things are just not going well, I just talk to him and I'm like, something's wrong and I don't know what it is, so I can't fix it. So we're just gonna have to suffer through this now. This sucks. Like, I can't. Like, how are you gonna fix something that you don't know what the problem is?
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
So I love this conversation, actually, because of the whole caddy-player relationship. Is this something to where you're open to, I don't want to say criticism from him, but if he makes a suggestion of, oh, you're opening up your right foot before you plant it fully, like, is that something that he's noticing or willing to talk about? Or is it kind of, in your mind, you don't know what's going on, you'll figure it out later?
That has never come up, anything like that, where he would say something like, if something's weird with my form or if I'm not taking enough time or too much time, like anything like that, not really, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really know I don't even know what would help me out there.
Well, you're doing good. You just don't know the differences between those outlier events. But in general, majority of your events, they don't seem like the outliers. And that's what I wanted to drive. You're actually having a great event. You said you're missing a win. So if you get a win, I mean, from our perspective, we'd say that's a successful year as well. That's what it would take for you to say it. Or do you feel like, hey, if I finish out with a few more podiums, successful year?
Yeah, I mean, for me, successful year is literally just being happy
Okay.
and not getting injured. Like for me, if I do that, that is successful. That's the baseline, and everything beyond that is bonus. So
Yep.
I guess if you want to look at it like literally on paper, what would be a successful year for me currently? Yeah, I would agree that a win would make that definitely, and another couple podiums would make that too. But yeah, I guess just making the Pro Tour finals easily would be nice, and finishing the season without anything wild happening to my body. Or
All right,
Well,
so you
the
just gotta
last-
say no to all the media obligations the next few weeks and just get your solo practice rounds in.
Well, it sounds like a
I
lot
have
of them are
thought
his own
about it.
obligations, but
that's also a balance though. Like I'm representing a company out there that I want to represent as well as I can. They're paying me
Yes.
really well, and I want to do whatever's best for them too. And is it better for them if I finish in 5th and say no to all the media stuff, or if I do all the media that I could possibly do and get like the extra 100,000 clicks through that on YouTube and get a 15th? Like, you got to weigh that too. It's
Yeah.
like it's just such a weird thing in this game.
It's like, hey Siri, call Andrew Johnson. We need the answer from him. Siri, do not actually call him. Sorry.
well, you have a
Yeah.
win the last 3 years, right? So 22, 23, 24. So yeah, well,
Got
you
to
still
keep
got
the streak alive.
yep, plenty of events to get it done. And like you said, you've been really close. So, yeah. Well,
You're
anyway,
retooled.
we're
We're letting you
rooting for
go. Your retooled time lapse, because that was your most recent video. You like it? Which one are you going with? More stable, less stable?
I think I'm actually. Oh, there goes my phone. I think I'm actually putting both in the bag.
Are they going to be called the
Um,
V2 and V3?
I don't know. I need
Okay.
to make some phone calls again. Still, I have 5 days to figure it out.
All right. Well, cool. I wonder if that makes my Lester time lapse, the original, makes it worth more. I'll just keep holding on to it, Simon. It's a beautiful disc.
Oh, dude, you're sitting on something there.
Hey, while we're live, I'm going to get you, hopefully I can, not now, maybe at the end of the year, write a nice little letter that says, that Angry Ape Discmania bag was from my official collection, and I'm going to put that letter in the bag. Will you help me out with that?
Please, you
Okay.
can come over anytime. I got you.
Okay,
Certify.
cool. I still got that bag, and it's still in a plastic bag. I'm like, we'll just keep that for museum's sake.
I love it.
All right, cool. Hey, thanks for coming on, dude. You're our only
Yes,
hope.
sir.
You're our only hope. You're still in the U.S. Everyone else, it's 4 a.m.
That's true. Yeah, I guess. Wait, Crocol is this week, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun to watch. I can't wait.
let's do it.
That's on my bucket list. Hopefully
I
next year. I
said
can
one of
do
the
it.
top-rated courses in the world, right? So
I think number one.
Yep.
Woo!
forward to it.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Simon. We'll catch you around.
Peace.
Thanks
Peace
for
out.
joining.
Peace.
Bye.
Good stuff. I feel like, I hope not, we're like stressing him out about his season. We're like, so how's it going? He's like, I don't know. I can't
I'm
figure
sure.
it out. No, I mean, it's just,
I'm sure he's thought about it. What I find interesting is obviously Simon's always great to have here. Truly authentic. And what I'm getting at when I say that is like, you truly see how he is thinking, how he approaches the game, the media challenges. He's just kind of raw about it all. And we interview so many people in the sport, and so many people tackle this game so differently, which is pretty cool. Right? Just like him saying he has no idea what's going on because he doesn't have a system or a method. And then there's some players out there who like everything is systematic. Like, remember, Matt, you were blown away by the word proprioception.
yeah.
I think it was Taylor talked to us about that.
Yeah.
Simon basically almost suggests he doesn't have that.
Well, no,
I
I
don't
actually
think that's
think,
exactly what he was saying, but
I think he has it naturally, unknowingly. That's how good he is.
well, probably. But
But would you call that
he
proprioception?
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you would, because actually you should be able to diagnose it. And I think, Ben, you spent a lot of time with Gannon, but what I see with Gannon is he does, like, very much. He's like, oh yeah, like
He's so methodical.
yeah, like I'm aware I just slightly adjusted my angle of my elbow a little bit. And like he's aware that he did that. And so then he can correct it by slightly adjusting the elbow differently. And you're like, I am just sitting there trying to throw a disc. And it's like, I don't quite have, at least not in the sport of disc
Because
golf.
he's been throwing since he was 2. It's just natural.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So that was
But
good talk.
But he's, it's always fun just to get the insights. Like literally, we didn't even probe deep. I mean, you asked him right up front about like drug testing, and it's like not on his radar. But that actually tells us something. What I mean is like the top pros are like, sure, like whatever, like great, like of course, like there's drug testing because it's a top sport, right? And then you maybe have other people who are like, this is going to ruin the game. I'm like, those are two different groups of people, not the people we're interviewing.
That's a good point. Interesting.
So, but you get that insight by getting that reaction of like, I haven't read my email, and asking us, is this a big deal?
I know. It's like, what should I know?
And it's kind of like, well, we're kind of making it a big deal because it's an interesting topic, but it may not be actually a big deal. Anyway, just
to be clear,
insights.
I don't know
Thanks
that we
for
ever
Simon for coming
actually
on.
made it a big deal. Like we talked about it.
But I mean, but I mean, we're bringing it up.
Oh
as a
yeah,
topic.
I was just interested in a
don't-
pro player perspective on it.
Yeah,
They
and I'm
had
saying his non-answer is actually
Yeah.
interesting. That's what I'm saying.
I'm also surprised a little bit, like even the like, no, nobody's ever gotten tested. I've never been tested. I don't know that room. I knew that room maybe was a thing, but I've never seen the room. Like all this stuff. So it's just like, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting if something goes down this year different than previous years, whether or not people test positive, this or that. Just the fact that if it happens, it'll just be interesting.
So since we jumped back to that briefly, we had said we were going to have Doug on here this week. We should probably acknowledge clearly we don't have Doug on here this week.
We said hopefully.
Well, that's true.
We did say hopefully. I remember saying hopefully.
I want to put it out there.
Doug.
Listen,
Yes, we were hoping.
Yes, and I was the one who had the conversation with him, so I want to put it out there, not so he looks negative, but like things happen in life, right? He said, "Yeah, I'll make myself available." Other things came up. That's not an issue on our end, but that's what happened.
And he did make him generally available to us. Like he answered a lot of questions.
Oh yeah,
shared
took
some
phone calls,
information.
provided me the email to the players.
So can we actually
me.
talk? Can we talk about the topic for just a few minutes?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't
Well,
know.
like, I don't think.
I mean, I feel like I don't know if you're going to that email or not.
Well, I can. Let me just tee it up. That's part of it. But it's just to acknowledge that I don't think we're debating all of our debate we had last week, right? But we had said more information would come out on Wednesday. That was shared on our show last week. And more information did come out. I actually don't know how public it was. I don't think it's confidential either. But my point was it was a targeted message to probably the attendees and staff of the event. So like most, if not all, the players probably received an email. And so I think that's like, I haven't even seen anything else in like the media or press or player reaction.
To your point, it's not a real story, real story.
Right. Yeah,
Like,
it's a noteworthy thing for the operation of the event, which is why the PGA is making sure they're telling the players. Like it's a real factor, but it's not a story.
Yet.
I don't know. It is an interesting, right? It is a story for our event, so I don't want to downplay it too much, for our sport. But anyway, so yeah, I think we've seen a portion of the email. I don't think it's necessarily groundbreaking. I think Matt, we can just even summarize 30-second version of it here, but.
Yeah, I mean, the Chat GPT summary, if we were to ask it, which I didn't do this, I should just be like, give me the summary. But you see the PDGA kind of owning something because it's their responsibility. But also, from my perspective, I'm recognizing that, like, that's good of them to do it. But, like, they had no reason to think it'd be... Look at Simon's response. The PDGA had no literal reason to ever think this would be anything different. I think there was some type of...
That's the part I know what you're getting at, and this is the part I'm most curious about.
Yeah, and we don't know for sure publicly, but they were, I'm going to use the word tipped off. Someone made them aware that they should have more concern about this for this year. That's all I'll say that I know.
And then maybe they won't even do any testing. And
yeah, it's very possible. So it's very, very possible a bluff or trying to.
But right, but something happened to make the PDGA, I'm using this word, but more nervous that something may happen this year. And so they're like, ooh, we should probably take it serious.
But the email was more or less them pre-owning it in the sense of like, hey, and I hate to say it, but they had no reason to think that this would be a thing. But they're doing the right thing in this email saying, hey, listen, we never had any reason to think any different, but we should be not complacent. That's how I read it. We should not be complacent. We'll now incorporate things to look at other events in Europe, and we're going to stay on top of this and ahead of this. So that's the short and
so
sweet.
It's really right. And so really there wasn't much of any other news at all. The only other clarifications were reminders that WADA has official policies. There's exemptions, there's processes. If you're concerned about the fact that you've got to take certain medications, then go ahead and look up on the website how to take those medications and file for an exemption. And so it was just more like, we could talk about it all, but literally there was nothing groundbreaking. It was like, what we told you last week is basically the same thing. Here's a little bit more perspective from our side of saying this has always been a thing that could have happened at these events. And maybe we should have been more on top of it. Here we are trying to be on top of it, and then just telling them how to kind of manage themselves. So yeah, I don't think there's much else to talk about except for it'd be curious for us to get just any official information out of the event if something happens, and just any on the ground like perspective from any players. But it's highly likely that we'll be so focused on the actual event itself that unless something happens big, it's going to be like a byline of our show notes. We're going to be like, oh, here's how Worlds went down, which is going to be a big topic. And then we're going to be like, and we did hear they tested 5 Americans and that's it.
Ben,
5 Americans got kicked out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
moving on.
Yes.
I don't even know how public all that becomes to us immediately. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
Not
'cause
unless someone
testing,
makes
it's
a
like,
social
Whoa.
post.
they
I
they
think-
process the test,
Yeah.
and then it's afterwards, and then et
Yeah,
cetera,
you
et
don't
cetera.
know that.
I
Right.
guess we just keep watching the PDGA suspension thing, if that even.
Well,
again,
happens, yeah. So
this happened before, not at Worlds, nothing to this scale, right? But remember, we talked about there had been a European player before, so
I will
It's
say
worth
there was a
knowing
little
that
bit
it
more
has
to the
happened.
email. Now that got mentioned, Nick, ultimately they said, listen, this is a unique situation because we don't have a specific rule about this. And I'm summarizing. I'm not putting words in their mouth. I'm not quoting it. I'm kind of summarizing. But because we don't have this, we're going to consider any, quote, violation or positive testing with the WADA as an automatic appeal to the PDGA, meaning like you don't even have to go through the official appeal process with the PDGA. They're like, we're automatically going to take it under review, like on your behalf. So it's going to be, I think it'll be fine all around. I think they're handling it well.
I think it will be.
Moving on from this topic, Ben, because you're sitting there so nicely and enjoying the conversation and probably relaxed to be. Are you in Leicester? At home?
No, I'm
Walmart
at my
parking lot.
No, I'm at my wife's house or
Oh.
wife's parents' house.
Okay, cool. Shout out to our biggest fans.
Are they Liv? Are they listening downstairs? They are. So there
nice.
you go. Shout out.
Got that.
They
Shout
went
out
downstairs
to Liv's parents.
so I
Um,
could talk.
We're gonna let you make the take then. Is Kristin Latt the favored player at this point in the season going into Worlds?
I'm personally going to pick her to win, so I'd say yes.
If you were making a choice right now about who wins Worlds,
yes,
you pick her now based off
I'm
of the
picking
track record.
Kristin. Yeah, I mean, whatever. She's having a few days off, but it's not like I don't know. It's Worlds, and she's number one player in the world. That's where you got to step up.
You're known, Ben, for wanting, like, for rooting for players to win. You're like, I
Yes.
want them to win. I guess I'm digging in deeper. If you were betting and you hate betting, where I gave you opportunities.
I'd bet Kristin Tatar on whatever bet site is legal
You
now.
would.
I'd bet her to win. Yes, I think I would honestly, and I hope
Her versus
Evelina
the
keeps
field.
winning. So the odds get better in Kristin's favor. Maybe
I'll move that over
I'll
to
bet.
Nick. Like, if you were betting
tough.
and you just saw, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 events have passed and she hasn't won in a row. 6 in a row.
Yeah.
And you're going to
With
bet.
Evelina winning 2 of those.
Your bets
Gotta
are
bet
not
on
going to be
Mike.
as heavy or strong.
Yeah.
You might bet on her.
Honestly, right now I'm kind of. I have to look up last year's Scorsese European Open to
Yeah.
make like a legitimate. So if you literally give me like.
Yeah,
30
you can do
seconds.
that.
No,
Josh,
Worlds,
what are your
Worlds,
thoughts?
for Worlds.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm saying European Open was played
I
at the
think
same
I'm
courses
still
last year.
picking
Oh.
Kristin. I'm picking Kristin. I mean, it is super tempting to pick Evelina. But the
Mm.
thing about Evelina is with the off putting or the not real strong putting, there's still too much potential for variation. And here's the deal. Kristin has averaged finish on Pro Tour and Elites 2.1 for her finish place, right? Even this off streak you're talking about, Matt, like is finished second, sixth, and second. right? Now, Evelina, incredible, right? Two wins back to back. But before that, it was 6th, 4th, 9th, 14th, and 2nd. And so I'm just saying, look, Evelina, maybe there's a case to be said right now, like there's a trend and you can ride, right? Momentum is a thing. And so, like, I get it. If you want to pick Evelina, I would probably be like, that's great. But I think Kristin is still, but guess what? If she plays bad at Crokel, then I get really nervous. It's like the scale is like really like tight. And it's just
we'll
like
ask it again. We'll ask it again
drop
after
one more
Crokel.
weight on that, and it's like, okay, what is happening, right?
We'll
and by
ask
the way,
it
she doesn't
again.
have to win at Crokel for me to like. That's not what I'm saying. But if she comes in like 6th, or she looks like putting, she looks like she's tired, and she looks like she's releasing her forehands poorly, you're gonna start to feel uneasy.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Nick.
did a little research. Last year, European Open, this was the big blow up from Evelina the final round. This is when she, like round 3, Kristin had shot 8 over, Evelina shot even. So going into the final round, Evelina had a 7-stroke advantage and then shot 9 over the final round when Kristin shot 5 down. Over at the Beast, the last 2 rounds were played at the Beast. So it's tough. I mean, Evelina won Worlds last year. She's won Champions Cup. She's multiple major winner now. She's playing great as of late. She's making the putts when she needs to. She's not making all of them, like we see from some other FPO players, but she's throwing the disc extremely well, backhand and forehand right now. So it's tough because even on wooded courses, she's playing very well. Open courses, she's playing pretty well. And so in this current moment, I kind of want to tip my cap to Evelina. And yeah, so I think if I was to bet on it right now, I think with how I see the two playing, I would tip my cap to Evelina.
The hard part for me in answering that, and I asked the question because I feel what Nick's saying, but then there's always this gut feel though. And I think that's a little bit, Ben, what you're doing, right? You're like, she's Kristin.
She's Kristin. She's
right.
The GOAT.
And what do most betting professionals, because I'm in that, I'm in that world. What do most betting professionals say? Don't go with your gut. Always go with the logic. I think that's probably part of it. They always say, look at the numbers. They don't lie.
Kristin's logic.
Right, but I just gave you some numbers of that.
She hasn't won in 6 events. I'm not talking about her average finish. We're talking about win, favored.
Right. But second place is pretty darn close.
Oh, that's good. But is she going to be able, is everyone just going to keep eking her out for the next 6 events? Like, what are the odds on that? Probably not. She'll get 1, but will it be Worlds? Will she get 3 more? I don't know. Depends on her trajectory within her trends, I guess, how she feels. Anyways, the question was favored. Obviously, she's a fantastic player.
Yeah, whatever the percentage chance is for a player to win, she's got to be the highest on the stack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to say she's like a 10% chance, then that's the highest. Evelina's at 9.5% and go down from there, right? It's like that. That's what I'm saying. It's like other people are close, but like I don't know. Anyway,
But so I see what you're saying. Favorite odds, but like the odds don't always work either, right? So like she's gotten second, 6th. She's not getting the win again, 6 in a row. So
yeah.
We'll see. There's obviously, she's an incredible player. Let's see what the trajectory is after this. Someone said Josh is based. I think they meant biased, but I don't know how you'd be biased.
No, he meant based.
Oh, based.
Josh gets it.
Based. But if I'm biased, I'd be like, yeah, exactly. That's what having an opinion is. Literally, an opinion is showing your bias towards an outcome.
I know. People used to it's 6 years. We're 6 years in now. People used to always be like, this is horrible journalism. I'm always like, we're literally bringing our opinions because we have a take, not because we're trying to like report on the news. So
yes,
appreciate it. I guess if I was to, just give you a few stats, and then we can move to another quick topic before we wrap up. So Kristin has 8 podium finishes out of 9 starts. And out of those 8, 3 are wins, 5 are second places. So there's some stats. You have Holland Handley with 7 podium finishes. 7. 3 wins, same as Kristin. 3 seconds and 1 third. After that, you have Silva and Evelina. Okay. With 2 wins, and Missy with 2 wins. And there's a few podiums to each of them. This year, you've had 7 different winners in FPO. I'd be interested to look at that stat. How many is that compared to usual? We have 7 different. All right. Moving over. Oh, and how many wins does Henna have, Ben?
0.
You can make some money. We can change the bet up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I want her to win. She's gonna win.
So close for years. This will be our running thing for years. I think it's been like 3 years, this bet. All right, let's move over to MPO. When it comes to podiums, just strictly how many podiums somebody has. Who has the most? MPO.
Like of all time?
No, this season. Most podium finishes.
I was going to say, damn.
Obviously, there's a
Gannon.
bias towards wins, but most podiums. Ben got it. Gannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's averaging 4.5.
So he has 6 podium
Average.
finishes. He has 3 wins, 1 second, and 2 thirds. Following behind that was Nicholas with 3 wins. Adam Hammis now enters the conversation as just being 1 back on both of those guys with 2 wins. Then behind that is Anthony Barella, Ezra Aderhold, Ezra Robinson, Isaac Robinson, Mari Villman as the only other people that have wins. So we have why is it showing me an average? I want to see us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 1 more different MPO player. So we have 8 different MPO winners this year versus 7. So
I have a few other stats on the
Go ahead.
MPO field for the 8 winners. This is just interesting to me. So you talk about like something called variation, which is basically how wide of a spread you can get. So Gannon Buhr has the least variation. What's the worst? Ben, you know his worst finish on the season?
13th.
Yep, nailed it. Were you there for it?
Yep.
caddying. No.
So 13th. So his worst finish. So obviously he's got multiple wins, right? So he's got 3 wins. His worst finish is 13th. His average is 4.5. But then you look at Adam Hammis. You know what his variation is? Guess what his worst finish is? 83. Okay. So actually of all 8 winners, he has the widest variation. He has 2 wins and he has an 83rd. By the way, if you're curious, Maury Villman, worst 48th. Niklas Antela, worst 45th. So I'm kind of counting backwards here. It's just really interesting. Somebody like Ezra Aderhold, who just got a win, worst 42nd. So there's actually quite a bit of variation. Like these players, and so we're not talking about pop, drop, lock, but if you pick the right week, right, these are players who can win on any given week. I just find that really interesting. We've talked about parity before. It's an interesting way to look at it. Gannon is not like that. He's on top of the pile. But everybody else with the win this year, has had one event where they finished 28th or worse. Except Gannon.
So
just
to your
thought it was
point,
interesting.
there's one other number to look at with that, Josh. The standard deviation is probably really similar. Is that what is that? very
Yeah.
similar?
That's the idea.
So I just had run that real quick. Gannon's standard deviation is 4. So you're talking like he'll
he can
swing a
barely
maximum of like 4.
He's always
either.
locked in.
And then you go to Adam and it gives you a 24. So it's a big swing.
Much wider range.
Yeah. So
And
would anybody disagree? Gannon, this used to be Calvin. I'm almost ready to give it to Gannon. I think one more season and I give it to Gannon as most consistent best player.
Well, yeah, Andy wins.
That's used
By
to be
the
a
way-
burn I would do.
Well, that's a real factor now. And maybe at the time you were trying to say that too. By the
Calvin
way,
went
totally
4th, 10th, and 8th for season-long averages. 4th, 10th, and 8th, 3 years in a row. That's pretty good. Like average. finish.
totally kind of irrelevant random fact, but for the 8 MPO winners this year, they have received total cash of $250,000, $254,615. That's their total winnings, not just their cash for winning first. So like, anyway, 8 players have received $254,000 this year. Pretty cool.
Dang.
Ben, what do you got for us? What's the tour life like? Does it feel like you're back home, or now you feel like you're missing the road? What's going on?
Nah, I'm like in the break. Definitely was missing home and enjoying just my time with family and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm glad to be back for July.
I don't know what your respect level was for it, but your respect level and experience for the grind on the road has probably changed.
Oh yeah, going day in day out, just playing. Especially the grinders, obviously the ones that win and get Airbnbs, but the grinders, like I can see it's like it's a lot, especially if you're just like living in like a van or something like that, where it's a lot.
Yeah. You know who, unless you've got more to add there, you know who kind of laid the groundwork. There's still so many players literally grinding right now, but like you go back to the original tour, maybe even like pre-pro tour, and you hear some of those stories, like really grinding. And we just had some of those players play a major this past weekend.
Yep.
Again, we don't talk a ton about that on this show, but I mentioned it in parting last week. I said, check it out. There's coverage. I think you had to be a pro subscriber, but there was live coverage. And let me tell you, it was electric. I didn't watch all the rounds, but towards the end, watched MPO. FPO, by the way, was great too. So congrats to Owen Scoggins. It was not a runaway win. She had to grind it out in the last round, beating Jennifer Allen. And so Owen, she comes and wins on the pro tour and then goes and wins Masters, which is pretty awesome. But an MPO went down to a playoff, and not only the playoff itself was exciting, of course, but the actual holes before that were just back and forth, big putts. Joe Revere, who's a 3-time defending champ, and then all of a sudden he's on the wire. Paul Oman from the Chace card with an incredible round. You have Dutch Napier, who's you could be rooting for him. He's been out there for years, kind of grinding. And even the way the playoff went down, they both park the hole. When I say park it, I think if I remember the order, Dutch literally puts it it hits the pin and just sits there. The guts on a playoff hole, right? And then Paul Oman throws it within 3 feet of the pin. And just you could see the stress. I think Dutch had he had to stop his run up on the last hole. You could just see there's probably lots of nerves. I mean, imagine the pressure, a world championship in your division. And he does a run up. If anybody knows, BRP, Blue Ribbon Pines, the island hole on 18, and he just stops. And I'm just imagine all the cameras are on you, world championships, and it doesn't go his way. Lots of camaraderie around. So congrats to Paul Oman, or Tall Paul. He's played on the pro tour off and on at different intervals. Obviously knows a lot of the players, but a big congratulations to him. It's kind of fun seeing our sport continue to grow. I'm sure the generation before us would have said the same thing, but the generation many of us are in, maybe Ben, you may not quite be in this, although I think you've probably caught on, but these were the players we were watching in the earliest era of the pro tour. These are the names. And so it's kind of cool to be able to see that maturing, and it's clearly not going to get the same attention the pro tour does, but there's some really highly competitive disc golfers. I mean, by the way, I only mentioned those two, but Kale's out there, Big Germ's out there. I already mentioned Joe Revere, and there's a long list behind
Alan Jansen.
So, yeah. And by the way,
Johnny,
and Johnny McRae gets a win. Corver gets a win. And I believe Schwebe gets a win, right?
No, Schwebe was third.
Oh, third.
What kind of win?
I just assumed he was getting a win.
Yeah, I know, right?
He gets a win.
Yeah.
He won recently. Was it the one before the Masters?
Yeah, but this is probably the one he really wanted to win. But as you said, old guys rule, and I'm probably in that category, Schwebe. So it was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Really
Schwebe's
fun.
awesome.
And now he's a Hall of Famer.
Yes, congratulations to Schwebe on that one.
Yeah, he
Hall
did
of
get
Famer.
third place.
Well deserved.
Third place. Yeah, I actually had on the notes, I wanted to talk about Hall of Fame stuff, but we're out of time this week. Maybe we'll find a way to bring that up at some point. It's always worth noting because there were a lot of notable names. This is my point. That generation is now being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and these are players we know.
Yeah.
Not that the generation before matters less, but we don't know them as much, so it's harder to kind of make a story of it. But there's players now going in that we know, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool. So, hey, last thing, did you see, I think it's Disc Golf Fanatic. Yeah, we see a lot of stuff flying around from their page, but did you see the pictures of the Estonian?
Oh, the festival that's going on right now?
Well, I think it is.
Rains,
I think the
muddy
festival
fairgrounds.
But did you see the muddy grass?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
it's not
it, no.
grass. Oh,
No.
Ben,
It's
go
just walk down.
look it
so
up.
it's like the preserved parking lot.
Oh,
that I
maybe.
was stuck
But
in.
go
Yeah,
look it up. It's
probably.
actually, of course, I'm sure the pictures we were shown were the worst of the worst, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the whole landscape looks like. But Ben, go look it up because
I'll look it up right now.
it is like the pictures we saw. I don't know if it represents the whole course. The pictures we saw were like, there's no grass left.
Imagine
And it's
like a
almost comical
fairgrounds,
because
Ben,
yeah,
where like thousands of people are just walking in muddy conditions.
100,000.
Like,
They had over 100,000 people out there.
thousands.
But it's pretty funny. Like, yes, it is thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's pretty funny because if you see in one of the pictures, there's like a little table there, like at a booth. And right under that table, so a perfect rectangle, is like perfectly green grass. And then everywhere else is like black mud.
Just mud.
How are they gonna are they gonna fix that? They've got
They're going to
like
have a
couple
little
weeks?
bit of
Mulch,
time if the rain lets
mulch.
up, mulch like crazy.
Yeah.
It would be something.
Oh my goodness.
I just want
I'm
to say,
just curious too about the pictures we saw could be just small sections.
Yeah.
Like I hope that's not the
I
whole
saw the
course.
update one. Doesn't look that the update doesn't look that bad.
good.
But
good.
yeah,
Well,
I
that
can
was just a random
see
point to
that's
bring up.
crazy. That's just mud.
For our listening
On the
audience,
tables, that's so funny.
Yeah. For our listening audience, I do want to shout out because we were putting up on screen there, Brian Schweberger saying he coming into the chat and then ultimately said, "Hey, I watch the show every week." Thank you, Brian. Obviously, we say thank you. You're the Hall of Famer. You've helped pave the way for disc golf in a way that truly was impactful. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame, and you're keeping on. So awesome.
The most
Thank you for
winningest
listening.
man in disc
Can
golf.
you imagine winning 441 times, Matt?
No, I may have been playing for 18 years, but you guys are going to be shocked. I've only played like 60 something PDGA events. I've played a lot more disc golf, but as far as PDGA tournaments, only like 60 something.
Well, Schwebe's
Dude.
played 923.
Yeah, I don't even
PDGA
know if I've
events.
played
I'm sure he's played a bunch
441
of other
rated
ones.
rounds.
True rated rounds now, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
So we appreciate that. I think we made it to the end of the show.
We did. That we did. Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for Simon jumping on really quick. Believe me, when we get Doug on for an interview, it is going to be awesome. Sorry we couldn't do it this week, but thank you to all of the chatters in the chat tonight. You guys were awesome. We appreciate you very, very much. Don't forget to like the video as well. It helps us out a ton. So we love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you to Titan Disc Golf and Hooligan Discs for being awesome partners and sponsors of the show. We appreciate them a ton. Check out their websites for all of your disc golf needs. Tell someone you love them this week. We will catch you guys all in the next one.
Were we the only good content on YouTube tonight? The live chat was popping.
We appreciate you all.
Yeah, that was fun. Appreciate it, everybody. Ben,
Congrats again, Schwebby. You're the
I'm
man.
busy. You're back, but we got to get in around, bro. So let me know sometime,
Yeah,
and I'll try to
tomorrow
make it.
at league, hopefully.
Oh, Maple Hill.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
try and join.
somehow I'm in like the top 5 for points. If you go look on the leaderboard in the pro shop, so
There you go.
let's go do it.
We all should get around. We should do our annual video round
Okay.
where we face each other.
I got it. You got an ace at Maple Hill. I got an ace at Maple Hill like 2 weeks ago. You got one this week.
I know. 14 I saw. That's awesome.
Yeah, we can rate aces, but aces are good. I'll talk.
You know, yours is better. for
Oh,
sure.
Ben, you're too kind. Let's get out. Let's go. I appreciate everybody. We'll see you out there. Until next time. Peace out, everybody.